Hello there, and thank you for clicking on this Resaurus Komodo Moe figure review. Here he is, the beautiful Komodo Moe. The reason I don't have the box is because I never had the box. I actually bought this figure loose for about £20, I think. I got lucky. I don't really see him that often, and usually when he's in the box he's very expensive, so I managed to get this one. He's in really good condition, and yeah, it was only £20, so... Moe isn't one of my favourite characters, so only if I find a box that's very cheap would I ever consider buying that. So Komodo Moe comes with quite a few accessories actually. So he has his two swords here, his two scimitars. They've got this really lovely design. Obviously Resaurus love their detail. They couldn't just give us plain swords, so they gave us these lovely kind of inscribed swords, and they have these wonderfully leather bound handles. Obviously they're not actual leather, it's just sculpted really nicely, and there is some kind of wear paint on the swords to make them look a little bit older. So again, with metallic paint the problem is that it chips quite a lot. These ones are in okay condition. He's actually one of the only figures whose weapon or accessory fits in his hand without any kind of struggle. They just sort of slide in, but the problem is they're way too loose. They don't sit in there at all. So Resaurus couldn't get this right. They gave him this massive claws with all this open space, and they give him these tiny handles, and they just kind of rest in there a little bit, but not really, because if you turn him upside down they just fall out. They still haven't, well, they still hadn't at this point nailed figures holding accessories. He also comes with the yellow crystal, which again is not canon in the game, but it's just there as purely as a collectible, as something fun to collect, because it would be boring if all of them came with purple crystals. And obviously he's a Series 1 character that comes with a Wumpa Fruit bouncy rubber Wumpa Fruit. So that's nice, because by the end of collecting this series you would have had lots of Wumpa Fruit for Crash to play around and eat, so you might even get yourself a life. He also comes with this Nitro crate. I mean, just look at this awful sticker work. Whoever did this, I hate you. I bought this second hand, unboxed, stickers already on. Who the hell? When? The crates obviously go this way up, but... just... I despair. I don't want to take them off though, because they're like stickers that will never be able to be used again, so it's just a dud crate for me. Komodo Moe is a really interesting figure. He's the only character that doesn't have any legs in this series, other than the masks, but they're not actually, to be fair, they don't come as characters, they come as accessories. He's got this wonderful detail on his face, all these wrinkles and scales. He has quite nice head articulation. I think it's on like a ball joint, so he goes up and down, left and right. He can do kind of whatever you want that isn't hindered by his back, because the back of his neck is kind of the thing that's going to hinder him the most. But he actually gets quite a good range of movement. I think possibly one of the best ranges of movement on all of the Crash figures. His arms are really stiff for me, but they might not be on your figure. So that's just a pivot. Unlike the other ones, he doesn't have a pivot and a hinge, it's just a pivot joint. And this is also a 360 pivot on his big claws. Same for the other side. The arms are hard plastic, but his jacket is actually a rubbery texture, is actually a rubber, so you can kind of move his coat around. I'm not too sure why they did this, to be honest. I'm not sure what it adds to the figure, because it's not like anything down here moves or needs to move. But you know, you can kind of open it up and you can see his legs in there. So it's really nice, the extra kind of the extra sculpting they did for that. And at the bottom there's just his feet. Nothing else really on there. See, on Cortex there was a thing on his back that was the copyright information. Komodo Moe has this huge space on the bottom and he doesn't have one. In fact, he doesn't have copyright information anywhere on his body. So he does have this white clothing here, and it has this green tint painted in around it, so it kind of looks like it's glowing. It's really lovely to look at. The interesting thing about Moe is this veil on the back is actually made of a fabric. So it's kind of a thin cotton fabric. There's nothing interesting about it other than the neck details that they've sculpted in here and the few spikes that it's hiding. and he has his little pointy hat, which is really delicate. And I used to think that these were scuff marks, but actually they're painted on, and there's 4 of them all the way around. I think they're meant to be kind of like dots or rivets or something. They're just painted on, they're not sculpted. So originally I thought it was damaged, but actually it's not. It's a nice figure. There's not much to say about him really. He doesn't do a lot. There's no real issues with him other than his delicate hat, which often breaks. His tail is actually a separate piece, so be careful because that can pop out. It's on a plug. It's like a plug, so it just plugs in there, so it does get loose. You can move it if you really want to. So mine goes kind of up and down, but it doesn't stay there. That's pretty much all there is to say about Komodo Moe. It's a shame they never released his brother, Komodo Joe. They never even planned to release Komodo Joe. They just made one Komodo brother. Why it was Moe, I'm not sure. Probably because he was the one in the middle. He was the one who you were kind of attacking when you spun Komodo Joe into him. And I guess he's the one that throws the swords. So he's probably going to be the more interesting figure. But his brother probably would have been an easier figure to sculpt. Maybe because he's much thinner, much smaller. But they went for Moe instead, and I like Moe. Not sure why they chose him. They chose one half of the duo rather than, say, Ripperoo or someone, which would have been a nicer character probably to have. I know they did plan to do Ripperoo in a later series, but I don't really see the point in doing one half of the Komodo brothers. At least you would have done them both in the same series, surely. Or we could have got rid of all these accessories and maybe had him come with a slender Komodo Joe. Like you have the Moto Crash and Coco duo pack, you could have had the Komodo brothers duo pack. But yeah, he's on his own, so he's a bit useless. Unless he's kind of sword fighting you or using his brawn. There's not a lot he can do without his brother, I guess. So there's no recreating any boss fights with this figure. And obviously he's not very poseable because he just kind of is a blob of plastic with no legs. Well, that's the Komodo Moe figure review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment down below, let me know what other characters you want to see. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed this, or subscribe if you want more. And please go back to the menu and select another Crash Bandicoot figure review.